Hello everybody, Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism here with your Wednesday version of Why Do We Call It That? Now, I'll be honest, I've been an underachiever lately with the Why Do We Call It That series. Things have been absolutely chaotic. We've had weekends just full of stuff and it takes all week to gear up for it. But hey, I'm recommitted. I've got my goals in view, but from here going forward, fall, winter months, a little bit easier to make sure we deliver good quality content for Why Do We Call It That? So today we are jumping right back into it with a really cool item here right in the city of Richland Center. Now for many people, if you see this, if you've been to town or for any certain period of time, you probably recognize that I am standing on what we call the Mapleside Footbridge. Now, a lot of local people think of this as the Footbridge, right? It's just the Footbridge. Well, the actual name is Mapleside. Now, funny thing, the story here does not actually focus on why we call it that, and honestly, I cannot find much in the history books or newspapers of how it got that name. But there is a very interesting story about this footbridge and some legal wranglings even. So a story worth being told, and yes, indeed, it is one of those, and now the rest of the story at the end. So, the story of the footbridge starts in 1912. At that time, F.O. Smith, Charles Parfrey, and Grant Minor Sr. And so keep in mind, Grant Minor really was benevolent to the city. He gave us the land on top that is Minor's Hill in honor of his father, Judge James Minor. Parfrey, his father, had owned the grist mill. He bought it from Ira Hazeltine and expanded that and grew that. So these are some pretty important people in the building or the growth of Richland Center at that time. So it's 1912. The three men own land across the Pine River. And at that point, it is a lake. There is a pond there. The mill pond exists. And they are trying to figure out, okay, before the advent where automobiles are widespread, they're trying to figure out how do we get people back and forth from the land we want to sell and make those houses marketable. So they come up with the plan, they devise a plan to build a footbridge. Then they get Otto Cleansing involved. And now Otto Cleansing was another individual, very important, ended up being quite wealthy, but really because of his land holdings. But Otto Cleansing gets involved, and Otto Cleansing and Grant Minor build the bridge. So this is about 1912. They get it going, things are great. In 1917, they give it to the Richland Center City. The City Council votes and accepts it. Life is awesome. There's a lot of enjoyment here in the pond. Things are going on. People enjoy the footbridge. And then 1951 hits. And in 1951, a torrential rain downfall comes and rainstorm comes very quickly. Over 4 inches of rain falls on the city and up above north of the city. It all comes down through the pond. It rips the moorings off that attach the bridge from each side and ends up taking the bridge, wipes it out, and takes it away. So in 1951, the Richland Center public is like, hey, you're going to rebuild the footbridge, right? Actually, that was not the original intention. So when the federal funds came through to help the city recover from the flood, they only got $500 in federal aid. Well, that was not enough to rebuild the footbridge. So the city council decided we're not going to rebuild the footbridge. We don't have the funds for that. Local circuit judge, the public gets involved, says, hold the phone. We really want that footbridge back, even though really the practical purpose it was originally built for may not have existed, more of a landmark or something notable for the city at that point. But they went, legal action started. The local circuit judge did decide, gave orders to the city council, you need to rebuild the footbridge. City council was unswayed. They took a vote, and on a 3-2 vote, with legal action supporting them, said, we are not rebuilding the footbridge, because when the city of Richland Center accepted the footbridge as a gift or as theirs, it was illegal because a couple of the people that were giving us the footbridge and owned the footbridge were actually on city council, and they said that action was illegal. Well, fortunately, the city of Richland Center, the folks and others who were involved didn't stop there. They actually filed a lawsuit that ended up in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, and they ordered back in 1952, actually. In 1952, the Wisconsin State Supreme Court ordered that the city of Richland Center rebuild the footbridge, and it was rebuilt in 1954, finally. So we were 3 years without the footbridge. 1954, it was finished, rebuilt for the cost of $19,000. So that it did cost a little bit at that time. But we do thank those folks for asking for that and pursuing that effort, because it is a really cool site right now. Quite routinely, we see folks enjoying the views as they cross over the Pine River here, and also just being able to go for a really nice walk without having to be on a busy intersection or busy streets. So that is the story of the Mapleside footbridge. Again, more of a now you know the rest of the story kind of a thing, rather than how it got its name. So I promise, going to be bringing you more of these episodes this year. Kind of fell asleep here in the summer when we got busy with our schedule. But we look forward to bringing you more of the Why Do We Call It That series. Again, this weekend, a really busy one with Center Color Fest and all of the different celebrations happening around that. We look forward to seeing you out there. For Richland Center Tourism, I'm Marty Richards. Have a great day.